once many big ranches in California, and many New Mexicans went to work there. One day, one of the big ranch owners asked his workers if there were any poets in New Mexico.
Of course, we have many fine poets. We have old Vilmas, Chicoria, Confugos, to say nothing of the poets of Soboleta and the Black Poet.
Well, when you return next season, why don't you bring one of your poets to compete with Gracia? Here, none can compete with him.
When the harvest was done, the New Mexicans returned home. The following season, when they returned to California, they took with them the poet Chicoria, knowing well that in spinning a rhyme or in weaving wit, there was no California who could beat him.
As soon as the rancher found out that the workers had brought Chicoria with them, he sent his servants to invite his good neighbor and friend to come out and hear the new poet. Meanwhile, the cook set about preparing a big meal. When the maids began to dish up the plates of food, Chicoria turned to one of the servers and said,
"Well, my friends, it looks like they're going to feed us well tonight."
The servant was surprised.
No, my friend, the food is for them. We don't eat at the master's table. It is not permitted. We eat in the kitchen.
Well, I bet I can sit down and eat with them.
If you beg or ask, perhaps. But if you don't ask, they won't invite you.
I never beg. The master will invite me of his own accord, and I'll bet you $20 he will.
So they made a $20 bet, and they instructed the serving maid to watch if the self-confident New Mexican had to ask his master for a place.
Then the maid took Chicoria into the dining room. Chicoria greeted the rancher cordially, but the rancher appeared haughty and did not invite Chicoria to sit with him and his guests at the table. Instead, he asked that a chair be brought and placed by the wall where Chicoria was to sit. The rich ranchers began to eat without inviting Chicoria. So it is as the servant predicted, Chicoria thought. The poor are not invited to share the rich man's food. Then the master spoke.
Tell us about the country where you live. What are some of the customs in New Mexico?
Well, in New Mexico, when a family sits down to eat, each member uses one spoon for each biteful of food.
The ranchers were amazed that the New Mexicans ate in that manner. But what Chicoria hadn't told them was that each spoon was a piece of tortilla. One fold and it became a spoon with which to scoop up the meal.
Oh, furthermore, our goats are different than yours.
How are they different?
Well, here your nannies give birth to 2 kids, and in New Mexico, they give birth to 3.
What a strange thing. But tell us, how can the female nurse 3 kids?
Well, they do it exactly as you're doing it now. While 2 of them are eating, the 3rd one looks on.
The rancher then realized his lack of manners and took Chicoria's hint. He apologized and invited his New Mexico guest to dine at the table. After dinner, Chicoria sang and recited his poetry, putting Gracia to shame, and he won his bet as well.
Ay, ay, ay.